Hello, everybody. Good morning from the UK, from Plymouth, from University of Plymouth International College and Plymouth Business School. Good afternoon to everybody who's joined from India. It's absolutely wonderful to see so many of you with us here this morning. We have a packed agenda to go through. We'll start with some introductions. So my name is Tim Gutzel. I'm Director of Marketing and Admissions for University of Plymouth International College, which we'll call UPIC for the rest of the session. And I'll pass over to my UPIC colleagues and then to my Plymouth Business School colleagues to introduce themselves. So Mary, if you'd like to start and then pass the baton on.
Hello there, I'm Mary Yates. I'm the admissions coordinator here. Nico?
Hi everyone, I'm Nico Staurenghi. I'm the mission manager here at UPIC. Amy, do you want to go next?
Hi there, my name is Amy Byrne and I am one of the admissions officers here at UPIC. Nice to meet you all.
And then I think we have Sarah as well, do we?
Yes, so hi everyone, I'm Sarah Hines and I'm a student experience officer.
I think that's all of Team UPIC that's on the call this morning. So you can see you get 5 of us for the price of 1, and that price is even free. So we're fantastic value right from the start. And then Richard Parkman from Plymouth Business School.
Thanks, Tim. Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Richard Parkman. I'm the Associate Head of School for International at Plymouth Business School here in Plymouth. And I think I am the sole representative for Plymouth Business School today. So, and I'm free as well. So thank you.
So we'll give Richard plenty of time to talk about Plymouth Business School during the session. But you can see from the screen a broad agenda. So we'll introduce you to the small but perfectly formed UPIC team, go through our entry requirements for India, the admissions process, and then 2 main areas of focus this session. So one being all of the May start options that we have, and that does sometimes get a little bit overlooked. People expect a September start and a January start maybe, but we have a range of undergraduate and postgraduate programs available in May. Richard will introduce us to Plymouth Business School. We'll talk about payment information, about the CAS, various important dates. We'll share some student success stories with you, talk about marketing support we can offer, about UPIC programs, about scholarships, accommodation, all of our social media, and then we'll be absolutely sure to leave plenty of time for questions at the end. But if you have questions as we go along, then please do feel free to interrupt or to use the chat, and we'll be absolutely sure that all of your questions get answered. Sorry, slightly distracted as we still have people joining us, so I'm admitting people from the waiting room as we speak. So that's our agenda for the next half an hour or so. So let's get going quickly. So UPIC team, you can see me there as Director of Marketing and Admissions, and our College Director and Principal, Peter McDonnell. So to the left of the screen, essentially, you have our marketing, admissions, and recruitment teams. And you can see all of Mary, Nico, and Amy are on the call this morning. And then to the right of the screen, you have our academic and student experience team. And Sarah is part of that team and is also on this call. So that's the UPIC team. And then moving on quickly to our entry requirements for India. Mary or Nico, which of you would like to talk through this?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Okay, so for our entry requirement, we got 3 levels of entry at UPIC: foundation, first year, and pre-master. So our academic entry requirement for the foundation program is completion of year 10 or year 11 with a minimum average of 55% overall and must include maths of 55% overall or above. For first year direct entry, which we can offer for some courses, even though not in May, we Sorry, Tim, I think you muted me.
Yes, sorry.
No problem. So for first year direct entry, we require successful completion of year 12, so the HSC, with a minimum average of 55% or above. And again, it must include maths at 55% or above. For some program, like for example, health and human sciences, we do require good grades, not only in maths, but also in science, biology, chemistry, physics. Same for engineering. Apart from maths, we require good grades in physics as well. With regard to our pre-master program, so postgraduate, the academic entry requirement is a university qualification equivalent at least to a UK HND or to a bachelor degree. Regarding the English requirements, also the usual test that we receive is the academic IELTS, for which we need to see at least a 5.5 overall, with no less than 5.5 in any band for foundation. Whereas for the year 1 and pre-master, the student need to have at least 6 overall with no less than 5.5 in each band. We accept academic UKVI and non-UKVI IELTS, but also PTE academic, the PSO test of English, with 59 overall as a score, no less than 59. With regards to other conditions that your applicant might see on their offer, so there will be SCV in case they have a study gap. Please submit the application even if the student has a study gap, because we will consider all the application. If the study gap is of 8 years or more, we'll then refer it to our academic board, and in that case it will be useful to receive a CV without gaps and a strong personal statement explaining why they want to return to study after such a long gap. In case they got visa refusal, again, please submit the application anyway, with a copy of the visa refusal, so that our academic board can review the application and see whether we can still make an offer. In case of discrepancy in the name or date of birth, basically the discrepancy will need to be supported by some official document explaining why there are these discrepancies in the document, for example, a marriage certificate. Some candidate will be asked to pass an admission interview, and all candidates from India will also see a university approval as a final condition. This university approval might require an extra credibility interview from the university in case they still have some areas that the university would like to investigate, just some extra question that the university might want to ask the applicant. The important thing is that since you're using StudyLink as a portal, all communication, all the documents should be uploaded via StudyLink to keep all the documents and the communication related to the same student in the same place.
Great, thank you, Nico. Do we have any questions at this point on our entry requirements? Okay. Not sure if somebody's trying to ask a question. I can hear some voices in the background. No, okay, let's move on. Really important point to make about the University of Plymouth now is that in 2023, it was awarded gold, triple gold in the Teaching Excellence Framework. So that means triple gold as in gold overall and gold for student experience and student outcomes. And that's the best outcome, the best level of achievement that any university can achieve in the TEF. So that's really good news that you can share with your students about the quality of the teaching at the University of Plymouth. And then moving on to Plymouth Business School. Richard, I'll hand over to you at this point.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, it's just that background noise. So yeah, thank you, Tim, and everybody. So I'm here to sort of talk a little bit about Plymouth Business School. I know we're on a time back, so I could talk for days about Plymouth Business School, but I'll keep it relatively concise and brief. And as Tim mentioned, if there's any questions, I'll happily answer any questions either as we go along or at the end, and please use the chat. So Plymouth Business School is one of 3 schools within the Faculty of Arts, Humanities and Business. And as the next point is, we are broadly divided into two divisions currently, one being made up of accounting, economics and finance, with the other being a fairly sizable school, which consists of business, which again is made up of marketing, human resources, business management, tourism, hospitality and events. And along with one of our sort of strengths is around sort of international shipping, maritime, logistics and operations. So the business school consists of 84 members of staff approximately, and we have around 2,200 taught students and around 100 PhD students. Along with that, we do professional doctorates as well, and the taught students are made up of undergraduate and postgraduate subject areas as well. So not much else to add there. That's a sort of brief overview of Plymouth Business School. And then we have a range of postgraduate programs that we offer. I don't really want to read a list out, and I could explain each one in turn, but we'll be here quite some time. But other than to say our sort of strengths in the business school, as you would imagine, is in the field of business management and related areas. So our very popular program, both here in Plymouth and globally, is the MSc in Business and Management. The MA Human Resource Management, that is accredited by the CIPD, which is the sort of professional body, and students who complete the MA HRM, they will be accredited at level 7, which I think is a really good incentive for people to undertake that program. Our international business program, again, very popular, does what it says on the tin. Similarly, the MSc Finance. Again, another area that we are strong in, which is unusual for business schools, is that we have an MSc in tourism and hospitality, and it is a sort of strength for Plymouth Business School. Again, which is sort of unique when it comes to business schools globally. They don't often house tourism and hospitality programs. Similarly, the university is strong in marine and maritime, and that's reflected in our international logistics, supply chain management, procurement and supply chain, which has a sort of maritime and international shipping focus as well. I'm also so proud to say that in January this year, we launched a full-time Master of Business Administration, an MBA, and that sits alongside our current top-up. The top-up is a purely online, and students who want to apply for that program, they already have to have 120 credits at level 7 that contributes to an MBA in the field of business. But again, we have a full-time MBA as well. So, yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions when the time is appropriate. So
we have, sorry, Richard, to interrupt, just to say, do you have any questions you'd like to ask of Richard at this point about all of the programs about Plymouth Business School and the postgraduate program portfolio there?
I probably should add that all our programs are 1 year. I should have mentioned that point. They are sort of 1 year master's programs, as opposed to, I know in India, postgraduate programs tend to be 2 year programs. So again, that might be relevant information for people.
Richard, could I ask, please, what's the work experience requirement for the MBA?
2 years. Sorry, that's a good question. Yeah, so we're looking at 2 year work experience.
And is there a kind of quality of work experience that you're looking for?
That's another good question. We would expect people to be operating in some supervisory / management role, because obviously an MBA is focusing at the challenges that industries and businesses face. So people need to be able to sort of have an understanding of the relevance of working in organizations. So we would be looking at people who are in maybe junior, middle management with 2 years experience looking to progress.
Great, thank you. I've been looking at student jobs. Great record over the last 3 years.
Okay, sorry, is this my slide? Sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So student jobs again. We have quite a good record around people finding jobs post study here. Again, we're looking at the size of where they're going into, sales and marketing, consulting, and this is sort of on a global footing as well. It's probably worth mentioning that the staff in Plymouth Business School are all experts in their field, as you would expect, but we have a really cosmopolitan community as well. We have academics from all four corners of the globe, and hence we have contacts and networks within industry in four corners of the world as well. So again, these jobs are just not located in the UK, they are global. But as you can see, the real success rate, and we are looking at sort of 90% success rate in people finding good graduate careers when they leave Plymouth Business School at the end of their study.
And an impressive
and this is just
list
a
of
list of some
employers
of
as well.
Yeah, just a list of, this is a very small list of our employers, but I think, you know, wherever you are in the world, I would say quite a lot of them, if not all of them, are recognizable household brands and names where people get good careers and, you know, following their studies here. So, yeah, this is just a snapshot of some of the areas, the destinations that our graduates go off and work. So I think we're very proud of our alumni, very proud of our graduates and what they've achieved following their study here at Plymouth.
Have you had many Indian masters students in the business school over the last few years?
It's varied. It peaks and troughs depending on when, you know, climates. But I think we do have currently, I think it's on our international business and business management. We've got something like 30 Indian students currently studying with us at the moment. We have some good connections with institutions in India as well. So, and we have a number of Indian academics at sort of associate professor level and lecturer positions as well. So again, we would always encourage more Indian students, but again, it's just cycles. We had lots of Indians, then that was overtaken by different geographical origins. But again, in terms of master's programs, we do have a sizable cohort, or have had sizable cohorts, but we're always looking to increase and encourage more, because we all know I was in India this time last year with colleagues from our international office, and it was really interesting talking to universities and institutions. We were talking about the economy of India, the growth of India, this sort of manufacturing base, business base, and the skills need around business and management that India is going to need to continue that growth around international business, because again, you know, India's got a great reach now around the globe for business. So again, it's about sort of connecting with institutions in India as well as here in the UK. So yeah, we have a sizable community, but we're looking to develop it further.
Great, thanks, Richard. Any questions for Richard at this point about Plymouth Business School and all the information you've heard there?
Hi, Richard. Neha this side. So I have one question related to the previous presentation.
Yeah.
Like you have mentioned, for MBA course, like some work experience is required.
Yeah.
So a minimum 3 years of work experience is required, or 2 can also work?
Minimum 2 years, not 3 years.
Okay, minimum 2 years. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Any more
Thank you
questions?
for the clarification.
Thanks, Neha. Any more questions for Richard before we move on? As he said, he could talk forever about Plymouth Business School, but you may just be restricted to 20 minutes, Richard, at this rate. Barely scratches the surface, does it?
No, indeed.
But anyway, I think you're staying with us. So
I am, yes, I am.
If any of our colleagues on the call have some questions before we get to the end, then please do ask. I said at the start, but another major focus of this webinar would be to look at the May Start programs that we have. So please don't forget about this. Everyone knows that everything we offer is available in September. A lot of what we offer is available in January. But in May, we do also have undergraduate entry in those 7 subject areas that are listed there. So in accounting and finance, in business management, economics, events management, international tourism management, maritime business, and marketing. All of those have an undergraduate start in May that leads on to the university's degree program in January. So those are programs which have a January start on the university's degree. So lots of advantages of starting in May. Saves time. So you can start the degree program in January rather than the following September, because you're saving time. You're also saving money because the time is shorter, but also because our fees go up in September. So if you join in May, you're paying the previous year's or the current year's fee, but the lower fee. The weather's getting warmer by May. So students who come and join us in January are joining in the middle of UK winter. By May, the flowers are starting to bloom, the sun's starting to shine. So it's a nicer time to start in the UK. So those 7 undergraduate options, and then all of our pre-masters options have a start in May, because that's a 1 semester program leading directly then onto the university's master's program in September. And the pre-masters options in all of those subject areas you can see there. So through business and management, communication design, data and computer sciences, education, engineering, psychology, tourism, and hospitality. So again, a good long list. So yes, please don't forget about our May Start options. Also important to say that for that intake, because the application volumes tend to be a little lower, we can offer a really good turnaround time. And I think we can pretty much promise, Nico and Mary, can't we, that we will turn an application around in 24 hours at the moment. So that's from receiving the application to issuing the offer. There may still be some conditions and other things that need to be done, but we can pretty much guarantee now a 24-hour turnaround time. So yeah, test us on that. Please do get the applications in. Who would like to go through the payment information? One for you, Mary.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Okay, so the payment information for our courses is on here, sorry. Our pre-master students pay the 100% of our fee, okay? And for foundation and first year students, they just pay a half of that fee. That's the only exception is students from Punjab, and currently we're requiring 100% deposit from those at the request of our compliance team. Payment can be made easily through the portal, so that's through the StudyLink application page, and also on our website. We often request that you use Flywire because that's a much quicker way of paying, so use our web page for the information on that. So in order to proceed towards coming here, you need to demonstrate that you've got the £9,207 living costs for the year. So you would need to show that. And you must be able to have that money shown for at least 28 days. So please ensure that your students are aware of that before they get to this stage. For our payment deadlines for May, that's currently the 5th of April. And if there are any late payments, we would need to make sure that the student could confirm either priority or super priority visa, because otherwise we may not have time to raise the information we need to get the CAS out to them. If the student decides to purchase Nav Insure, that's optional, they don't have to, then they will need to pay that £380 at the time of the deposit, so they can't pay that one later. In terms of commission, the agents will receive further commission when the student progresses, so once they go on to the university. If you've got any questions about that, if you direct them towards Tim, then he can answer your specific questions on that. Our current fees for this year, which is why we're saying that getting in May is a really good idea. For foundation, it's 15,250 for our foundation year, and for our first year it's 16,250, and those fees will rise in September. So it's a really good point to try and get your students in on this intake, all right, because they do raise up to 15,950 for foundation, and then 16,950 for first year. Okay.
Thank you, Mary. I mean, I think you are the font of all knowledge in relation to the CAS. So demystify the whole CAS process for us, please.
Okay, so we're really lucky here. The university give us the license at UPIC to actually raise the CAS. So it is us in here that will be able to do that. So we will lead you through the process. So once your student has received an unconditional offer, that offer letter will contain an acceptance form and the provisional CAS, which is all the information that we will need to raise a CAS. And it's really important that the student reads that, makes sure they're correct, makes any amendments, and sends back the acceptance form and the provisional CAS with any amendments or confirmation that everything is okay. For under 18s, then the acceptance form will also contain a section where they'll need to show that they've got a UK guardian, and it will need their parents' signatures. We would also need their birth certificate and their parental consent form. Once we've got that back and payment has been made, obviously the deposit payment needs to be made at this point, we will then send out an online form, which is from the university, which is just the final checks for any information that might have been missing or any further clarification that needs to be given. Any changes at this point need to come in on that one. Once we've got that, we will then ask for the bank statement. We ask that you don't submit a bank statement before because it's very important that it's within a particular date range. The bank statement must show that £9,207 and whatever remaining balance they've got on their first year of study at fees. So for instance, if you're a pre-masters, you will have already paid your 100% deposit and your fees, so you'll only need to show that 9,207. If you're a first year or foundation entry student, you will have the remaining half of your fees added on, which may be about 7,500 onto that. So they would need to show that balance for 28 days. It must be a recent bank statement that ends no more than 31 days before they apply for their visa. And it has to include the contact details of the bank. The bank statement must be in the student's name or a parent or legal guardian only. We can't accept business accounts. If the statement isn't in the student's name, then we would need a letter of consent and the student's birth certificate to prove the relationship to the student. This is not us being difficult, okay? This is a UK VI requirement, and at all stages, we really want your students not to risk a visa refusal. So we will at this point be quite diligent and make sure that we get all of the information to enable your students to come through and get in safely. Once we're happy with the bank statement, that it meets all the guidance, we raise the CAS and we will send that, and then we ask them to apply for their visa as soon as they get it. And we also advise that they supply the UKVI with the same documents that they showed us, because that means that we are sure that they are, as best as possible, will be okay to meet the requirements. As soon as they've got their visa, we like them to let us know so that we can make sure that our student experience team, so that's Sarah's team, can make sure that they have all the information they need to travel, to enroll, and to get here on time to start their studies. Okay, I hope that's demystified that for you.
Thank you, Mary. So before we move on, any questions about anything we've covered there? So the admissions process, the CAS, the payment information, any question? Okay, so let's move on. Nico, do you want to talk us through the important dates for the upcoming intake in May and then September as well?
Yeah, of course. So the first thing we need to keep in mind is our application deadline, which is the 15th of March for both undergraduate and postgraduate. We need to remember that these dates are put in place so that we want to allow your applicant to have enough time to pay the deposit, to get their CAS, get their visa, and travel here in time to start their program. So the payment deadline will be the 5th of April for both undergraduate and postgraduate. We might accept payment after this payment deadline if your student are able to apply for priority or super priority visa, but this will be discussed case by case. We cannot guarantee, because as we said, we don't want your student not to be able to arrive here in time and to arrive too late that having missed too much of their program. So for with regard to the CAS, for our standard visa application, the CAS deadline will be the 19th of April, while for those who will be able to apply for priority visa, the CAS issuing deadline will be the 23rd of April, both for undergraduate and for pre-master applicants. Then our enrollment will start on the 7th of May for undergraduate and on the 13th of May for postgraduate. And the lesson will start a week later, so 13th of May for undergraduate and 20th of May for postgraduate. The latest day that we can accept a student here to fully enroll and start the lesson will be 20th of May for postgraduate, which is the day when the lessons start, and 24th of May for the undergraduate. For postgraduate, we have an earlier deadline for latest enrollment because it's a shorter course, so they really cannot miss anything on that course because it's just a 12-week course, while the undergraduate usually they stay here for 2 semesters. And we also have already the dates for our September intakes in case you got applicants that are interested in courses we don't offer in May. But as you can see, for example, the deadline to apply is 19th of July, and the payment deadline will be 9th of August. But yeah, if we suggest if you already got a student interested in September, if they can please start submitting the application so we can have a look at the document and we can start asking them for further document or for the condition to get everything ready in time for the summer.
That's great. Thank you very much, Nico. Any questions on our dates? Okay. Well, we've talked about lots of quite detailed stuff about processes and requirements and all of that kind of thing, but we're all here for the students ultimately. And I just wanted to kind of emphasize that student success is really important to us here at UPIC and at Plymouth. You'll all be dealing with other pathway providers, I'm sure, and Navitas is different in that student success is really important to us. We're not just using our partner university as a way to get the students in and collect the fees. We really want our students to succeed in UPIC, progress to the university, and then succeed at the university. That's really important to us, and that's for lots of different reasons, because it's the right thing to do. We want happy and successful customers and students. So do you. So if you have somebody who joins us who's happy with us, then it's easier for your businesses to get more people to follow. So it's commercially important, it's academically important, it's socially important. And also, you know, several of us on this call have studied abroad or have children who would think of studying abroad. So it's a basic respect issue about our wanting for people who come to us to have the same kind of quality of experience that we would wish for our own friends, family members, if they were going to study abroad. The evidence of this is that we have more than an 85% progression rate from UPIC to the university, and then more than an 85% completion rate by UPIC students who join university degree programs. So we can't guarantee anything. It still requires the student to engage and work hard, but if they do, they're pretty much sure of progressing to the university and graduating from the university. And you'll know the numbers for other pathway providers. They're not at anywhere like that level with a lot of the other pathway providers you'll deal with. We have equivalent module outcomes for our overseas students as we do for our home and EU students. We have an equivalent number of first class and upper second class degrees awarded to UPIC students as to international students who join the university directly. So those numbers prove that coming to UPIC, we genuinely do add value to students who may be starting at a lower level or with lower grades, and equip them for success at an equivalent level to students, international students who join the university directly. So I just wanted to say that about student success and how important it is to us here. And then moving on, how we can support your marketing efforts. There's a lot that we can do here, lots of marketing materials that we can make available to you. We have a new promotional video. We're developing a whole suite of student testimonials, including Indian students. We're producing a whole range of subject-specific flyers that you can share with your students. So lots of things going on. There are banners we can provide. We can send you the artwork if you'd like to produce those locally. We have a 20-page brand new digital brochure. We can actually send you paper copies of that if you would like, or a digital version that you can share on. So lots of support that we can provide with your marketing efforts. And then I won't dwell too long on this. This is our whole program range. Perhaps the most important thing to remember is the number 3. So 3 levels of study: foundation, first year and pre-masters, and 3 intakes to UPIC during the year. Everything in September, lots of programs in January, and then all of those May start options that I described earlier. All of the foundation programs are two semester programs, with one exception, which is the Health and Human Sciences program, 3 semester program, and that leads on to nursing and all kinds of health profession related degrees. We have lots of areas which are related to our location. So we are a top 5 ranked university in the world for all things teaching and research in marine, and we are a coastal university. What else appeals to Indian students? Tourism and hospitality is popular. We have that at undergraduate and postgraduate levels. A very wide range of programs, and pretty much everything the university offers, UPIC has a pathway that leads into that. So that's our product range. Pre-sessional English. I think, Nico, you're probably oh no, it's a contentious thing to say because we all know about this, but Nico, do you want to take us through this?
Of course. Okay. These courses are for those applicants who don't meet our English requirement, IELTS or PT, and they are slightly lower in some bands. So these courses will be delivered only before September intake, not before May. Unfortunately, they're not available before May because they will be delivered in summer. And there are 2 options. A student can attend online, like the 4 courses that you can see on this slide, but there are also some on-campus face-to-face option that student can attend here. So the difference is if the student prefer the online version, in that case, it's okay to receive an academic IELTS, which is not UKVI, so we don't need a CELT or a non-UKVI academic PT. While if they want to attend a face-to-face pre-sessional English program, we need to receive a CELT, a Secure English Language Test, which is UKVI IELTS or UKVI PT. There are different duration for these courses according to the score that the student has received their English test. For example, the shortest one is 2-week pre-sessional English for those who are just 0.5 short in 1 band, or 6 weeks if they are 0.5 short in 2 bands, and then 8 weeks and 11 weeks for those who need to fill in a bigger gap in their scores. As I said, here we got the dates for the online pre-sessional English. The on-campus one will start a bit later and will finish a bit later, because with the on-campus face-to-face, the student will receive the CAS before even starting the pre-sessional English. So they will receive a CAS for the whole program, from the pre-sessional English to the degree they want to do. while if they want to study online pre-sessional English, they will receive the CAS only after completing the pre-sessional English program. That's why they need to start early in order to finish on the 9th of August and allow the student time to get their CAS and apply to their visa in order to come here and start their main program with us.
Thanks, Nico. We're often asked about scholarships. The university actually has a very extensive and generous scholarship scheme available to international students. And those scholarships can be accessed by UPIC students. So, for example, anyone who at UPIC achieves more than 70% overall in their academic grades and has more than 85% attendance is eligible for the university's international scholarship scheme, and that is £2,000, which is awarded automatically, and that can be available for the first year of study and for subsequent years as well. There's also an international academic excellence scholarship, and one of our students has previously been awarded this, and that is 50% of the tuition fee. So there can be some fee discounts available at UPIC, and talk to us about those essentially on a case-by-case basis. But then the university does have some very generous scholarships available. Richard, is there anything more you'd like to say about from the business school perspective about scholarships?
Sorry, Tim, I was trying to find the unmute button. No, I think you've covered it all. I think, yeah, you know, the scholarships are university-wide. As a business school, we don't offer anything specific beyond what is already there at the moment. So, but yeah, I think I'd echo your comments. They are generous in terms of what they're offering. But yeah, if there is an update on any scholarships, it's an ongoing conversation. If there's any updates about scholarships and discounts, somebody, probably me, will let you know in the future. But I think, yeah, as it stands, that's where the position of the university and Plymouth Business School is at the moment.
Thank you, Richard. Amy, do you want to give a virtual tour a go? I should just say in advance that we have had a few technical issues with this, so we'll try to launch our drone. Amy is a newly qualified drone pilot, but the technology may let us down, so forgive us if it does, but we'll give it a go. The virtual tour is actually really good, and you can see all of Plymouth, the campus, the city. So if it doesn't launch successfully, we'll send you the link afterwards. We'll give it a go. Amy, over to you.
So Tim, I can't currently share actually. It's telling me that because you are sharing.
Okay,
Does that make
I'll
a
stop
difference?
sharing.
Thank you. Okay. So, can you see it?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. So where I'm going to start is our lovely Plymouth Hoe. I'll take my time. I won't go too high because I have a fear of heights, and some people might be slightly travel sick. So yeah, this is our lovely park, Plymouth Hoe, that I will start with, and I will make my way slowly over to the university. This here is our Tinside Lido. It's a really gorgeous pool, actually, that's open in the summer. I wouldn't advise swimming there right now. It's a little chilly. So what you can see in front of you, that is a view of the whole city in front of us. You can see over here is where the campus is. A little bit to the left, I'll show you briefly. Actually, over there is Cornwall. We have some lovely parts of the city. We have Royal William Yard over here, which is actually, I think, where Richard is at the moment. And then I will go slowly back over here to the right.
Are you sitting on your boat at the moment, Richard, in Royal William Yard?
I wished. Just getting the champagne out, sorry.
I was going to say there's some nice cafes over your way that the students should visit when they're here. What we have over here to the right actually is we have a marine station here, and we actually also have, I'll zoom in just a little. There's our aquarium over there too, and both are areas that we highly recommend that our students both visit, and it's a selling point, I suppose, as well for students interested in any of our marine programs. And we also have the Barbican area just over here, which is a really nice spot for socializing and where there are some restaurants. But I will point out where we have some of our more multicultural restaurant areas, including some Indian restaurants. So yeah, as I said, here is our university campus that I'm gonna fly over to now. So yeah, we've just come from here. As you can see, there's another view of the Ho. So before I move actually over a little bit to the college, I will just point out a couple of areas here. We have Drake Circus, our main shopping center here. And around this area here is our main high streets. And then down here also is where we have a lot of our restaurant areas. And then there are some really nice places to eat, and it caters for all sorts of cultures as well. And also for a bit of socializing, a bit of nightlife, we have our Theatre Royal, which is down here. And that actually hosts some West End shows as well. But there are lots of different event areas on in the city that I will point out to you in just a moment. Right now I'm actually above the campus, just over here to the left. So this here is the Cookworthy building, and that is actually where our business school operates out of. And right next to it are some of our accommodation halls. So I will show you one of them. So this is just one example, and this is what one of our single rooms looks like. So you can see there, it's very cozy, comfortable. And some of our catering areas. So this would be a shared space. And what we will say is the university accommodation works on a first come and first served basis. So the students really should be researching this, you know, and arranging some meetings and things with estate agents and with the accommodation as soon as they can. So yeah, that's where some of our accommodation is. Right here in the university campus, you've got some of our main buildings. We've got Roland Levinsky there. This one is Babbage, which is a newly renovated center. Oh, I also forgot to show you, we've got our Students' Union here. And we've also got our library here too. And this is not far from where we actually are, as we at UPIC are on the college campus, just on the edge. So, and while I'm over this side, before I focus on where exactly we are, I'm just going to show that. So right over here is the train station. And just beyond that is Central Park. And there are some other amenities there for students, such as our Life Centre, which is a swimming and sports area. And we've actually got a local stadium, which hosts our professional football team. So there's plenty to cater to all the different needs and likes of the students. So yeah, sorry, back to our college. So you will see, are right here at Portland Villas, and it's a really nice tree-lined avenue. It may seem like it's a little further from the city centre, but it's only a couple of minutes walk. And we are right on the edge of the campus, and so that's the Babbage building there again. And you will see down the avenue from us is the Roll building. We've also got the MDEC building there. And also just before the train station is Inner City Place, which will be mentioned later, and that is where we host our Health and Human Sciences program. So back to us, as I'll just highlight, we are there. We are here wouldn't say 24/7. We are here from 8:30 to 5, Monday to Friday. And our student experience team in particular are based here, and they are here to speak with the students, help them enroll and help them throughout their studies with UPIC. So yeah, I think that is everything. I'll just zoom out once more just to show you. So again, we are there, and here is the university. I will say a couple of the staff, we do actually live in and around the city, so we can speak from personal experience that it is a very nice place to live and very safe also. So I'm going to just park the drone back at the airport if that's okay, Tim.
Thanks, Amy. It was some very impressive drone flying. How did you manage to get the drone into that bedroom? Because the door and windows all appeared to be closed.
Well, it's just from some expert maneuvering in through the window and back out again.
Impressive. Richard, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I should have raised this earlier on, but Amy just reminded me of all those new buildings. And like you say, I'd like to echo the piloting skills of the drone is fantastic. For those people who will be coming to UPIC or Plymouth Business School in the coming years, we will have a brand new Plymouth Business School, which will be in the centre at the heart of the university. We should be populating it either later this year or early next year. Is currently under construction. So again, some exciting developments for us. There's going to be a brand new business school for students to sort of come and populate in the coming years. So I think that was really exciting news that I should have shared earlier on.
Thanks, Richard. Accommodation is another real plus point of Plymouth as a student city. We have plenty of accommodation available. It's also great value compared with lots of other university cities, perhaps a half or even a third of what you might expect to pay for student accommodation in London, for example. We work with a preferred accommodation provider called Clever. Students are welcome to use Clever. They're familiar with our way of working and our multiple intakes during the year, so can offer a bit more flexibility around length of contract, but there's no obligation at all. That's just something that we offer to students. Social media, very busy, very active, daily on Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. Go and have a look at that. Lots of useful and hopefully interesting information there. Facebook, Twitter, all kinds of things going on, and LinkedIn as well. So encourage your students as well to check out some of that. And then we're getting towards the end now, so we'll give you time to ask questions. But we, over kind of a history of doing quite a few of these sorts of webinars, we know there are some frequently asked questions that tend to get asked. So we, the UPIC staff group, we may even include Richard if he's not paying attention at some point. So we'll ask the questions of each other and then pass the baton on. So I'm going to start with, actually, I'm going to start with Sarah and say, Sarah, is there an option to study online? You're miming it well, but...
Sorry, I was muted. There isn't an option to study online. So unless the student is doing pre-sessional English that isn't face-to-face, all of their classes, they'll need to attend. So for that reason, they'll be expected to be at the college. Normally it is 5 days a week. So that would be Monday through Friday. And for that reason, they would need to live in a commutable distance too.
Thanks, Sarah. Choose your victim for the next question.
Nico.
Right. So what if a student has a study gap? As mentioned before, please submit the application even if the student has got a study gap, because we're happy to assess and consider all application. What happens is, if the study gap is 8 years or longer, we need to refer the application to our academic board for their assessment. So what the student will need is a strong CV explaining what they've been doing since the last time they finished studying, and a strong personal statement explaining the reason why they want to return to study now, and explaining what they've been doing in the meantime, what activities, training they've been doing. So please, even in case of study gap, please submit the application anyway, because it won't be a straight rejection just because of the study gap, as long as there is a strong personal statement and CV to back it up. I'll go with Amy. Can student book accommodation outside of Plymouth?
I always say that this is a bit of a yes and no answer. As students have classes every day, they really need to be as close as possible to the university or within a commutable distance. So yes, they're better off to be in Plymouth. However, if they find accommodation a little bit outside of Plymouth, you know, less than an hour outside of Plymouth, or, you know, having easy access to a train station or a bus, then we would accept an address outside of Plymouth, but we wouldn't accept something if it's more than an hour, really. But also, if you can, I mean, why would you want to live outside of Plymouth? It's such a nice place to live in. And it is far from some of our major cities, but it has all you need down here. So yeah, I hope that answers that. Do students have to attend class every day, Mary?
Just backing up Sarah there and what she said, is basically, yes, they are required to attend class every day. Not forgetting that some of the scholarships that the university offer can actually be for students who attend a good percentage of their university. And why wouldn't they? Again, why wouldn't they want to? There's good teaching here. The lessons are informative and will help them on their way to a good qualification. So they are expected to attend class every day. Nico, can students pay their fees in instalment?
Right, so we got payment deadlines to receive cards, and also payment deadline to pay the second semester fees. So yes, we can be a bit flexible in terms of paying in installment, as long as the whole payment that is due is paid by the deadlines. But obviously we cannot accept monthly installment after the deadline. So for example, for the cars, the full deposit, which is 50% of tuition fee, will need to be paid for undergraduate, and the full tuition fee will need to be paid by a pre-master. There is no exception, so we'll need to receive the full payment before raising the CAS. And the last one, Tim, are there any opportunity for part-time work here in Plymouth?
Yes, absolutely. So with a student visa, the number of hours that a student can work during term time is limited to 20 hours per week, but you can work any number of hours during the holidays. There's plenty of work available. Plymouth is a real kind of regional centre, so for the local towns and villages as well. And there's quite a lot of tourism in Plymouth itself, and people passing through to go down into Cornwall. So it's a vibrant, busy city with lots of people moving through and around. So that does create lots of opportunities for part-time work. Could even be on campus, not necessarily. But as we've mentioned previously, the university is right in the heart of the city. There's lots of retail or catering or hospitality jobs available. So yeah, lots of opportunities for part-time work within that limit of 20 hours per week during term time. So those are all of our questions. We'll throw it over to you now to ask any questions that you have. While you're thinking about that, we haven't really given you enough time, Sarah, to talk about the student experience team. Would you just like to share with the people on the call how the student experience team works?
Yes, of course. So we are, so me, Jake, Toby and Anita, we're the first point of contact when the students arrive in Plymouth. So obviously during the first week of teaching, that involves getting the students enrolled, getting them ready to attend classes. But once the students are settled down, within that we can help with any like academic queries. If a student has an absence, we're the team who would check they're okay and would log that. Any queries to do, any queries to do with getting used to life in Plymouth. So if students are having trouble like adapting, or they just want someone to talk to, it would be us they would speak to.
That's great. Thank you, Sarah. So I can see there have been lots of questions asked and answered in the chat. But before we go, we'll just give you a last opportunity to ask any questions that you may have.
I think if I may, I'll just clarify some of the interview questions because I can see that that's been a common theme. So basically, the students from the areas that were mentioned in the chat earlier will all require an admissions interview. And that is one that's carried out by one of us or by one of our team in India. We also have Navitas staff out there who carry out those interviews. So that's the admissions interviews. If they are a health and human science applicant, the university also asks us to add a faculty interview. Now, some of those we can also carry out in here, but some of those will need to be organised with a member of staff from the university faculty. So broadly speaking, the nursing courses all have to have an extra faculty interview with a member of staff from the university. Some of the other HHS courses, such as dietetics or optometry or physiotherapy, we can also do those interviews at the same time as we do our admissions interview. We will let you know when your student is ready for the interview, and we won't usually do that until almost all conditions have been met. So we've got the CV, the personal statement, all the certificates we need. Once they've got through the interview, we have to send that for approval internally. Or to the faculty. And once that's been approved, the final condition is something that the university team ask us to do, which is to refer the applicant, the entire application with all the paperwork, all the transcripts in the interview over to them for approval. Now, the good news this year is they've got a much bigger team this year. So if historically you might have found a small delay on that part of the process, this year we're optimistic the turnaround times will be much, much quicker on that. And then that is the final condition. Once we've got approval from the university, we will then send out the unconditional offer, and not until that stage. We then say, please don't pay anything until you've got your unconditional offer. So I hope that sort of clarifies some of those questions that were in the chat with regard to the final processes with interviews and that final university approval.
Thank you, Mary. Any other questions? Okay, that's great. Thank you very much to everybody who attended. I can see that we got above 100 participants on occasion during the session as people joined and left. So that's a great number to have had. I'll just finish by saying thank you to all of my UPIC colleagues for their inputs, to Nico, to Sarah, to Amy, and to Mary. And also thank you to Richard from Plymouth Business School. Any final comments, Richard, before we go?
No, other than to say, I guess your colleagues can share my email with people on the call if they need to ask me questions directly, or you can filter them through by your team, Tim, if that's easier. But yeah, just say thank you for inviting Plymouth Business School to join this session as well. I found it really informative as well. So thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll end it there and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for joining. Thanks. Bye.